Somebody calling my name. Oh, Lord. Oh, somebody calling my name. Oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lord. What shall I do? Soon one morning, a death come a creeping in my room. So Lord, one morning, death come a creeping in my room. Hallelujah. Soon, Lord, one morning, a death come a creeping in my room. Oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lord. What shall I do? Ooh. I'm so glad, Lord, I got my religion all time. I'm so glad, Lord, yeah, I got my religion all time. Hallelujah. I'm so glad, y'all, I got my religion all time. Oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lord. What shall I do? Hush, hush. Somebody calling my name. Hush, yeah, Lord, somebody calling my name. Hallelujah. Hush, Lord, 'cause somebody calling my name. Oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lord, what shall I do?
Thank you so much, Francois, for singing for us. Good morning. For anyone who doesn't know, I am Reverend Christina Sillari, and I have been serving this congregation with Reverend Tricia Hart, who's sitting right here. And we both, for this service, chose our favorite hymn to sing with you. And I have many favorites, but I landed on Wake Now My Senses. And I love that hymn for so many reasons, and I'll say three. One, to me, it's embodied. It's an embodied hymn. Two, it honors the earth. And three, it lifts up justice. And so let's sing it. And we're only singing verse 1, 3, and 5.
Good morning and welcome to our service. It was really wonderful to have a few minutes as you all came in to see the joy and connection, and it just reminded me that we do a really good job of keeping love at the center. I would like to say hello to all of you, to the Zoomers, the people who will be joining us later when they are checking out our website. And this is a very special service as we say goodbye to our two interim ministers, the Reverend Tricia Hart and Christina Sillari. I brought my hanky. Maybe I'll save that for the end of the party. Before we go any further, Claire is going to come up and take a panoramic view photo of you. We knew it would be packed today, and we wanted to also knew that the ministers would be in the front row, so take it away. Okay. Smile. Okay, we might try this again a bit later in the service, so we're not going to take too long. Excellent, thank you. Before I say a bit more about the Revs, I would like to take care of a little business, especially for those of you who are visiting today, but also as a reminder to others. We have hearing assistants that you can get back at the tech table. And if you are here for the first time, we really wish you a very warm welcome and hope that you will be joining us downstairs after the service. If you want to fill out a blue card, then we can get in touch with you. This morning, we will not be having yellow cards, but if you have a care concern, there's a pink card for the caring committee, or you can give a yellow card that will just be for the ministers. We are having a celebratory brunch after the service downstairs this morning, and I really would like to thank all of you who stepped up and offered to participate in getting ready, or to do cleanup, or brought some food to share with all of us. This week, we'd like to thank the Facilities Committee for all the work that they do, maintaining our building and property. When you arrived this morning, you may have seen the lovely deck off the back side of the Fenn House and the work site on the front side. We are all comfortable at this temperature and with no leaking roof because of the Facilities Committee. They take care of some of our very basic needs, and we would like to thank them for that. Each week, we acknowledge that we gather on the unceded land of the Western Abenaki people. Our weekly acknowledgement is a collective act of social justice. We remind ourselves of the people who lived here, and we're the stewards of this land where we gather, and that they are our neighbors today. In fact, if you stay through the party, you can hop in your car and drive up to the Maritime Museum this afternoon for the second day of the Abenaki Heritage Weekend. And downstairs is an art exhibit by the Vermont Abenaki Artists Association, who also runs that weekend. And there are some really interesting displays that give us more information about the Abenaki people here in the Champlain Valley. So it is really an honor to be the worship associate this morning for the final service given by our two ministers, which, see, actually, maybe I do need my hanky. It's exciting to know that they will be entering a new phase of their lives when they will no longer minister to a single congregation after their long and esteemed careers helping different UU congregations across the U.S. We have been fortunate indeed to have both Reverend Tricia and Reverend Christina at a time in their careers where they have had so much wisdom and knowledge to share with us as we prepare to call a new minister. They have honed their craft and the art of ministering before their arrival, and we have been the beneficiaries of all they learned prior to arriving at CVuUS. You will hear more details of what they shared with us during this service and in the speeches at the party afterwards. But let's each of us take a moment now to silently think back to the different ways they touched you during their ministry with us during the last 3 years. So take a little breath. We have many pathways to connection. Many are listed on the back of your order of service this morning, and I would like to just highlight that a few for clarification and just to encourage you to come on out. Next Sunday is what we have started calling Flip-Flop Sunday, because we're going to flip-flop social time with the service time, because we're going to join other UUs across the country to watch one of the sermons as part of the GA weekend. So come at 10 and have refreshments, and then upstairs at 11 we will have the live streaming of the service. And then the next Sunday is the start of our summer services. The worship team has been working hard, and we're very excited. So there's more information of that in other places. And tonight, here, there's a concert for the First Amendment at between 7 and 9 p.m., and that will be a live stream event on the big screen. Will come down, and we hope you can come to that. And then the last one I want to highlight is that Friday, June 19th, is the final game night until September. So that's a potluck and then games. And now, it's time to light our chalice to start the other part of our service, now that the business has been taken care of. So Tricia will light our chalice, and then you can join me. It's on the screen and in your order of service. The end is the beginning. Well, that's the title. That was just for me to say. We call forth. Yeah. Invites us to sacred space to reflect where we have been, where we are going, even knowing that this particular flame will intentionally end extinction, not its end.
We gather here this morning in this sanctuary of transitions. We came here as your transitional ministers to listen, to walk beside you, to help prepare the soil for your next great chapter. For 3 years, our paths have been woven together in the heart of this beautiful valley.
Transitions are rarely easy, but they are sacred. Together, we have asked hard questions, held spaces for healing, and remembered who you are at your very core. A resilient, loving, and deeply intentional community, committed to justice and to one another. You have done the hard work of looking inward and looking forward. With joy, you have called your next settled minister.
Today, as our shared interim ministry comes to an end, it is time to celebrate. We step back from this pulpit with a sense of completion, offering our profound blessings to all of you for what lies ahead. The vital ministry of the Champlain Valley Unitarian Universalist Society continues in your hands.
We depart with deep gratitude and deep love for you, for this congregation, this beloved community. Let us begin this milestone service by opening our hearts to the dawn of this new day. The choir will now lead us into worship with the soaring hope of Lord, what a morning.
Ready?
That was so fun, guys. Thank you to Jen and Jon-Jon. I just want to call out the drums over there. Jonathan, Marsh, and Annabelle. Here we go. Names. All right. I am Julia Santerre. My pronouns are she, her, and I am your coordinator of religious exploration. And today is a very special time for all ages, for it is a goodbye story. And our story today takes place in a place that some of you might be familiar with. It's called Middle Earth. It is a land of craggy mountains with cavernous passages and deep, dark forests and rushing rivers, but also rolling hills and gentle streams and meadows. Middle Earth is home to all sorts of creatures, including trolls, elves, goblins, humans, dwarves, dragons, wizards, and small humanoid creatures called hobbits that live in cozy earthen homes with round doors and love to eat. They are my kind of creatures. Most hobbits prefer to stay in the Shire where they live, having tea and, of course, eating. And yet, Gandalf the wizard convinced young Bilbo Baggins to join him and a bunch of dwarves on a grand adventure. They journeyed far from the Shire, meeting many dangers along the way, but they got through it with the guidance and help of Gandalf. Until, about halfway through their journey, when they were about to enter the dark and dangerous forest of Mirkwood. They had camped for the night at the edge of the forest when Gandalf announced,
I have some pressing business in the south and will be leaving you in the morning.
What? Bilbo and the dwarves were alarmed that Gandalf would not be with them as they continued their journey, especially as they looked ahead to Mirkwood. But Gandalf did not change his mind. In the morning, he said,
Goodbye, goodbye. Straight through the forest is your way. Now don't go off the path. If you do, you may never get out of Mirkwood.
At this, they were even more alarmed. Bilbo asked, do we really have to go through?
Yes.
Yes?
Wizards just don't always know their lines. You must either go through or give up your quest. Stick to the forest path, keep your spirits up, and hope for the best. Goodbye.
And as Gandalf rode off, they heard him call from the distance,
Goodbye, be good, take care of yourselves, and don't leave the path.
Whew. Now, Bilbo and the dwarves, they did continue on their way. And they did, in fact, go off the path. But they survived, for the path was not the same as Gandalf had remembered. Even though he is a wizard, he did not have all of the answers. And it all worked out in the end. We are now saying goodbye to our wizards, who have guided us through this part of the journey. Like Gandalf, they are leaving us to our quest, but they have their own business to the south to handle as well. So I don't think we should tell them to stay on the path, For surely we don't know what the path looks like or if that's even the best route. But we can wish them safety and health and tea and lots of good food as they go on their adventures. And of course, we say thank you for the guidance and help they have given us on our adventure so far. Thank you. Thank you. You are now welcome to rise as feels comfortable to you and sing the children out.
It is now the time in our service where we collect our offering, and each month we split our offering with other groups that do work in the community that are in alignment with our values. And this morning, or this month, we share our offering with the Vermont Abenaki Artists Association to support their annual Heritage Festival, which we've talked about earlier, and also with Rutland NAACP in celebration of Juneteenth, which this year is, I guess it's every year, is on June 19th. It's just a different day of the week. So please be as generous as possible as the baskets come among you. This morning's message will be given by our ministers in 3 parts. And if they would come up and sit upon. So the first question is, how did you get here?
We've rehearsed this, but who knows what we'll say. So it's a really good question. How did we get here? I kind of date that to the beginning, maybe halfway through my 8 years as a member of the little church in Yarmouth, Maine that I tell you about so much. And I realized at that point that somehow, and it was not my plan, that congregation, that church had become the center of my life. It was where my friends were. It was where I needed to be a few times a week. It was where I wanted to spend more time. And so maybe ministry at that point, I wasn't really sure. Though seminary did seem like kind of a refuge, especially because my marriage was also coming to an end, slowly. And it was hard, but not horrible. It went on for a while. So seminary was where I escaped to. And I had a wonderful time at Andover Newton Theological School. And it takes a long time to get through seminary. It took me 4.5 years, which means that facing the reality of actually becoming a minister or doing something with the degree, you could put it off for a long time. Eventually, however, I needed a job. Even before I graduated, I needed some kind of income. And there was a small congregation that was within driving distance. Oh, sorry. Not only did my first marriage end, but in those 4 years also I got married again to Peter Newport. So we were living in Providence, and I needed a job that I could drive to. A couple of our kids were living with us full-time at that point. And so I started working for a congregation that, I think I told you this, was founded almost exactly the same time as CVuUS, though you didn't know each other, Rhode Island and Vermont, very far apart. And I didn't really know about being a minister. I knew about being a lay leader, and a number of you people do too. And for Christina and I have talked about this, and she's going to say more about this. What I knew how to do as the person wearing the title of minister in that congregation was to do lay leadership like extra good, which actually doesn't work very well. Mostly because the people who are the lay leaders don't want me to be doing what they're already doing. So it was an amazing opportunity for me to learn about myself. I will cut to the chase here and say that I did leave there after 4 years, and I thought at the time that I was probably heading for some wonderful, hundreds of years old, beautiful, quaint, in a New England town church that would call me, and actually call Peter and me. Was our plan as the years went by to do co-ministry, and that we would stay there forever. Which, it's really good that didn't happen. But I was invited, as I was getting ready to leave this congregation, I was invited out for coffee by a member who was also leaving, and she said something that surprised me. She said, "You know, you're really good at this." And I said, "What?" "Thank you, and what am I good at?" And she said, "You're really good at working with forming congregations. You're working through a time of change. You're good at helping people find new ways to work together." And I said, Gosh, thanks a lot. That's not what I think I'm going to do, but thank you. And you know, and you know. And what about you, Christina? How'd you get here?
There's so much more to Tricia's story. Well, I was unchurched for many, many years, but I was a spiritual seeker. And then I fell in love with a woman, and the two of us, she was a kind of a devout Catholic, and she wanted to go to church. And so we couldn't go to the Catholic church, so we went to a UU church. We went to Arlington Street Church in Boston, Mass. I'm getting anxious, I'm having all these feelings in my heart just even thinking about it, because when I walked into that building with my then partner, I just started crying. And the service was amazing, and I cried through the whole service, and I felt like I was home in one service. So we were in that congregation during our relationship. We ended up getting married in that congregation, then ended up getting divorced. Of course, marriage and divorce, none of that was legal at the time, which didn't matter. But then I met my husband, and he was living in Connecticut, and I moved to Connecticut to be with him because he had children that were still young. And he worked 6 days a week, and he went to church on Sundays. He went to a UU congregation on Sundays. And I liked church. I mean, I wanted to go, but I wanted to be with him more. So I went to church with him on Sundays, not only to go to church on Sundays, but after church, he led a youth group for 3 hours. And I tried to convince him to stop leading the youth group because I wanted more time with him, and I thought, we could go to church and then hang out. He wouldn't leave the youth group. And then he said, why don't you become one of the youth leaders? The youth group is like 45 kids, so it was huge. I ended up becoming one of the youth leaders of that group, ended up becoming the youth director of that group, and was doing youth ministry in that congregation for 7 years. And through that is how I was called to the ministry. And I literally had a call where I was sitting in I wouldn't call it a sanctuary at the time. It was like an auditorium. Nothing had happened. There was no music. And this voice came and said, you need to do ministry. I said, I'm already doing ministry, because I was in other ways. No, you need to go to seminary. You need to be up there. So it took me a while, but I went to seminary and became a minister. And yeah. and then I was called to First Parish in Portland after a while, and I stayed there for 11 years, and that was very powerful and wonderful. And then I left because I didn't want to do full-time ministry anymore, because I had another calling. And that other calling was happening before I was called to go to seminary. So at that point in my life, I had two roads to go down. It was either like really go down this path of deep spiritual shamanic work, or go down the path of ministry. And I went down the path of ministry. When I left First Parish, I took a whole year off, didn't do ministry, thought I would never do it again, and I missed it. I missed you. I missed congregations. I missed ministry. So then I committed only to do half-time ministry, which is what I've been doing since I left First Parish, and my other half of the time I do that other work. So that's how I got here. And that other work that I do, I teach a meditation and breathing class every week, and we're going to do some meditation right now. So I invite you to, if you are comfortable, uncross your limbs, sit up tall. Either close your eyes or gaze downward. And find your breath. It's there, coming in and out. Find a rhythm in your breath that nourishes you and connects you to your heart. And now gently invite your higher self, your true self, your multidimensional self, your soul, your spirit, whatever you want to call it, the essence of who you are. Invite that energy to come down into your heart. Breathe yourself into your heart. And in the next 2 minutes of silence marked by the ringing of the bell, continue to not only breathe yourself into your heart, but to let your heart energy expand into this space.
And now we will move into part 2 with the question of, what have you learned?
That's a big question. Am I starting that? Oh. Yeah. So, pretty much, ministry. Well, it's not just ministry, right? It's our faith. I can't separate our faith and ministry for me. So both our faith and ministry have just made me a better person. I've learned how to be a better person because of you, because of congregations, because I need to show up as my best self, because I need to constantly connect with the divine in order to be able to do the work I do. And when I first started as a UU in that congregation in suburban Connecticut, I didn't feel like I could be myself. I didn't feel like I was smart enough or rich enough or well-dressed enough or, I swore. I still do. I just felt like I was working class, right? I felt like I didn't fit into the culture. And so at the beginning, I felt like I had to be more of all of that in order to fit in. But then I realized I didn't over time. Because the congregation I was in was different than how I grew up. At Arlington Street, when I went to that congregation, that felt like more like me. It was urban, there were like unhoused people going and a lot of queer people, and it was like, but real, my world real, but suburban Connecticut, not so much for me. You want the mic?
I'm going to ask you a question. So given how hard that was, how did you learn to be a good person doing that in that place where you didn't quite feel like you fit?
Oh, right. Because I hung out with the kids. I hung out with the youth. And the youth helped me figure that out. Because they didn't care. And the youth group was not just children of the members of the congregation, although the children of the members of the congregation were very different than their parents. But there were also lots of youth from wherever that were there hanging out. And that's where, I didn't tell you this, Trish, but when I left that position, I remember the senior minister called me in their office when I was leaving that youth director position and said, we need to have a talk. And I'm like, what? And she said, you've been being a minister to these youth. You've been doing youth ministry. And I said, okay. And she said, you need to disappear now. Like, you can't really hang out with these youth anymore. You got to let the next youth director, because I watched these, I was 7 years. I watched these kids go from, through their whole teenage craziness, right? So it was the youth that helped me be me. Yeah.
And did you like you as you were becoming?
Yes.
Good. Good.
They liked me. The youth liked me.
Well, that helps. That helps. If they liked you, then you could like you a little more easily. Yeah. It's so interesting. Who do you show up as? I had a very memorable moment when I was meeting with a very important person at the UUA before I had gone before the committee, before I'd been approved, before I was fellowshipped, much less ordained. And I was worried. I was worried about, whether I would measure up. And what this person said to me was, you actually don't have to worry, because if you're in New England, she didn't even say that. That was the implication, that I would be in New England. If you are in a New England church and you stand up in front as the minister, people are going to look at you and say, oh yeah, we recognize you, you're one of us. And it's going to be easy. And those words were very resonant, because it was good to know that it would be easy. It was not good to be reminded of how quickly people, not just ministers and not just New Englanders, people look at somebody and say, oh, they're like me, or they're not like me. And one of the lessons of ministry, one of the things about being a good minister and being a good person, is to recognize that ease when it comes your way and recognize what a limitation it is. And that's a thing, what's one of the many things that as a minister you learn, and you understand on some level that you know that, and not everybody in the congregation knows it. Conflicts happen in congregations. There's always one question, I think, underneath it, which is, whose church is this anyway? And the minister needs to somehow stand in the middle of that discomfort and allow there to not be just one answer. Yeah. So, being a good person, what else did you learn?
Two other really important things. One is that, when you go to seminary, you're trained in many ways, but you're not trained to run a small nonprofit. And that's what a lot of ministers end up having to do, is run a small nonprofit. And so I learned how to do that with the help of amazing leaders, right? And that's another place that I have gained probably the most learning of all, is through relationships with congregants, especially with leaders, lay leaders, who I work closely with, because that relationship is powerful, and I'm always looking at myself as I'm in relationship with a leader, because it's not just about our relationship, it's about what's best for the greater community, right? So we're always doing that dance on behalf of a faith community, and that's powerful work. And those of you who are lay leaders, you know what I'm talking about, right? It happens, and it's powerful when that happens. Yeah, so that's another big learning.
So, yes, and I just want to add to that. I learned, because I have served 10 congregations in 7 states, I think it is. I have learned that the history and the climate and the culture and the tradition changes in congregations in different places. So I got to be, I learned how to be, because once I was a certain level of years of experience, I showed up and people thought I already knew how to do stuff. It wasn't like that first congregation where they were constantly watching me mess up and learn. I was experienced, and so I had to learn to navigate different cultures. Ohio is a different place. Pennsylvania is definitely its own world that I still don't understand, and I was there for 9 years. West Virginia, taught me so much that I didn't know about people and communities and history and what a religious community is and how it needs to function. I had the good luck to say on my first Sunday in Charleston, West Virginia, which was right after a chemical spill had destroyed all the water in the state, I said, I need you all to know that I don't understand this, and I need your help. I need you to be my teachers. And they took that so seriously and started that day. And so I stumbled on that, but I realized that's what I need to say to every congregation that I serve. I don't know this. Even coming here, I think I know Burlington, but the thing about Burlington is it's not really Vermont, right? So it's close to Vermont, but it's not really Vermont. So Middlebury, Addison County, different place. And you all have taught me. And the thing that I want to say is not just the incredible gratitude that I feel, that I know we feel to the help that you, well, it's not just helping us. You basically run the place, and we show up occasionally and try to do the right thing. But in addition to the lay leaders, staff members here and staff members in every congregation that I've served have literally saved my butt over and over and over again. I don't even know the mistake that I might make that one of them can explain to me, and maybe we can avoid it. I have sort of learned how to run a small nonprofit, and one of the ways you do that is you don't try to do it all yourself. So I'm just deeply, deeply grateful for the staff, the people who are often very tied by the heart to this congregation in other ways too, and they're also employees, and we depend on them a lot.
Yeah, and I don't think I could do ministry without a staff team. Like, it would be horrible. And there are some congregations that just have a minister and very small, and they don't have a staff. So, and that also leads me into the other thing I've learned, and my internship supervisor told me this early on, in a different way, but we're not that important. Ministers are not that important. We come and go, right? Whether you're a minister is someplace for a year or 20 years, the congregation remains. The congregation is what is important. And the ministers are all temporary. And it's really and even the ministers that come are a reflection of the congregation, right? So the congregation is the heartbeat of our faith. Truly, you are.
So, and you're just reminding me that we really are leaving. Not quite yet. I'll be around till the end of June. Christina's on call through July. But we really are leaving, and we're doing that not just because Reverend Michael needs us to. Yeah, I'm hopeful it will be helpful to Reverend Michael if we're not just standing around at coffee hour. But we're not doing it for Reverend Michael. We are doing it to help the congregation, to help all of you find your new beginning. And we're also doing it for us. It is so hard to leave, and it is easier to leave if you really leave. Because then later, a few years later, maybe you can come back and visit, and you won't be confused about who you are. I left Burlington in June of 3 years ago, and there was a memorial service or a something that was happening in October. And I thought maybe I would go and sit in the back. And I actually asked my colleague, Reverend Karen Johnston, how she felt about that, and she actually didn't feel that great about it. But I was actually grateful because when I began to physically feel in my body what it would be like to walk in a door I never went in, sit in a pew I never sat in, and be a different person in that space, I thought, I can't. I don't know how to do that. So I need time. We need time to be away from you, and I hope that you understand that. It's not about the rules. It's about how much we love each other. Wait, is it my turn to introduce the... Yeah. Okay, all right. This is one of my favorite hymns. It's in the teal hymnal, and the words are going to be up here too. It's called I Know I Can Go On. It was written by a musician named Jeannie Gagne, whom I had the great fun of singing with at General Assembly one year. But the thing I want you to try to imagine, if you can, if you've been to General Assembly, you know what this is like. I want you to try to imagine what it would be like to sing a song like this with about 5,000 other Unitarian Universalists around you belting this out. So bring that to mind. I know I can. Please rise in spirit or body and join one another.
Thank you.
And now well, that sounds too bad, final. But now it's the third question. We'll call it that, which is, what now, or and now?
And now ... question mark, right?
Yes.
Yes. Am I going first?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to start with trying to remember what it's like to live a life in which I am not a minister. Months and months. I was going to say 6 months. I think it's actually going to be like 8 or 9. I'm going to try really hard, after July and August when I am doing a couple of ministry things, but after that, not. And I am just going to say no to any invitation that comes for me to do a ministry thing, or even, frankly, to go to church, probably. I honestly, and I'm so looking forward to that because it means I'm going to be able to have time to do other things like travel and actually see my grandchildren and do some art that I haven't done in so long. It's been well over 30 years since I changed my life in order to be able to do ministry. So it'll take a little while to make this adjustment. And I'm fighting my tendency to make a list and set goals and announce them. I'm not going to do any of that. And we'll see. We'll see how that goes. How about you?
My future is unknown. And I've been here before, and I trust. I do know what I don't want. I don't want to keep living in upstate New York. I miss the ocean. I don't want to do full-time ministry. And, it's interesting to be partnering. It has been interesting to be partnering with Tricia for 3 years. I love you.
God, do we have to stop that too?
No.
I asked her if we needed to stop that too, and she says, no, we don't have to stop, but I'm not sure how that works. Anyway.
We're colleagues. So, yeah, we have become friends. Tricia's probably never going to be, you never can say never, and I know you're saying never, but you're probably never going to serve a congregation again.
That's right.
Right. I may or may not. But, my primary call now is not ministry. My primary call is this other work that I love so much and that I'm really good at. And that is where my heart is leading to me. So that's one thing I do know. That's it. Tricia has a beautiful poem.
Well, John O'Donohue wrote this poem. I'm going to share a couple of stanzas because it just seemed like the right thing for today. May my mind come alive today to the invisible geography that invites me to new frontiers, to break the dead shell of yesterday, to risk being disturbed and changed. May I have the courage today to live the life that I would love, to postpone my dream no longer, but do at last what I came here for, and waste my heart on fear no more. May that be our blessing to all of you, along with our deep, deep gratitude. Thank you. Thank you. What do we do now? Great. Thank you.
We know with brave hearts that from every ending of our lives, we are sent forth to make a new beginning. Will you join me, please, in the words we say as we extinguish our chalice each week? We extinguish this flame, remembering always to keep love at the center. Now, I could not let an event like this go by without a little bit of the camp director and me telling people what to do, so I will now do that. The ministers are going to leave through the center doors, and they're going to go towards the the main door, so that those of you who are unable to stay for the brunch downstairs will have a chance to say a personal goodbye to them if you so wish. The rest of us are going to go downstairs to enjoy the brunch provided by all of you, and there is a head table where the ministers will be with their spouses, and then there will be a little program once we get sort of to the cake portion of the meal. Everybody know what they're going to do? Left or right? All right, thank you so much. We'll see you downstairs.
So we can unmute now.